Hello, hello, hello. Hey, this is Warren Redlick. Thank you so much for watching. For this week's Sunday Live, we're going to talk about this here. But the short story is that we have this world. Oh, interesting reflection back there. What is the red dot? The red dot is back there, but okay. So, oh, that's actually outside. There's a light on a building outside there. What that is. So, I've been having these conversations on X.com, the artist formerly known as Twitter, about artificial intelligence and this question that it is assumed by I think the vast majority of people who are paying attention to artificial intelligence and AGI. I think yeah, it's Mordor. No, that's Mordor. That's from the thumbnail. So I think a large number of people assume that as AI comes online, as we start seeing more and more AI, that it will take away human jobs and there will be nothing left for humans to do because the AI and the bots will do everything. It's crotch dot. So, so I don't agree with this theory, and I feel like I'm an outlier here. And I definitely, when I have these conversations on X.com, I get people on both sides, and that's why I thought this was a worthwhile conversation. Is AI going to destroy jobs, or is AI going to create jobs? And there's sort of like a short term, what effect is it going to have on jobs, and long term, what effect is this going to have on jobs? And my take, and I put this in here, is that it's basically over the course of human history. Since over the course of human history, I talked about this in a video recently, but I just feel like that this issue isn't dead yet. I don't think it's going to die, and I want to cover this. That until about 1750, for like the entirety of human existence, there was basically minimal economic growth per capita. People lived horribly, and they continued to live horribly, and there were some technological changes over the span of 10,000 years, but there were not a lot of dramatic technological changes. That we did not have technological changes that made workers more productive, not in a significant way. We did not have technological changes that improved lifespan, made humans live longer. And 1750 roughly is the start of the Industrial Revolution. I'm just picking a year out of the air. I'm not saying it's the correct year for the start of the Industrial Revolution, but you started having this thing where there was technologies developed and capitalism formed, and an investor or a business owner could invest money in their business and do it in such a way that it improved the productivity of the workers. So you had workers working in a factory making handkerchiefs, and you came up with a machine that enabled one worker to do the same amount of work that three workers had done before. And that would sound like, oh my God, you just destroyed, if there were 100 people working, 199 people working in the factory, you just destroyed 66 jobs. But that's not what happened. What happened was it made workers more productive. And that increase in productivity creates efficiencies. So the simplest way, the way I described it here, which I'm not saying this is the perfect way to describe it, but imagine roofing. Imagine you have a guy who's got a roofing crew, and they got 10 guys that go up on the roof, and they replace the roof. And now all of a sudden you say, you know what, I'm going to get 10 bots, and I can have 2 humans manage 10 bots doing the roof install. And in doing so I'm using one fifth. Right, so it's two guys manage 10 bots. Now I can deliver this roofing job at such a lower price that my demand skyrockets. And I hired 10 roofing crews, right? I've got 10 bots in each roofing crew and two humans. So now I went from 10 humans to 20 humans. I actually doubled the number of workers. And this is a massively oversimplified explanation that how you can translate bots or AIs making workers more productive into more jobs. Now, this is oversimplified, and the reality is, there may not be that much demand for roofs. But if if it reduces the cost of getting the roof done, then the consumer, the person who's buying the new roof, has more money available to spend on other things. That if you're lowering the cost, you're able to pay the worker. Now you have two workers doing the work of 10. So you're able to pay these two workers more. So the workers get paid more, the boss makes more money, and the customer's getting it. It's like a win-win-win situation. And I'm not saying this is the only way of thinking about it. I'm just saying, this is like the standard scenario. The way I've told the story before was you got a restaurant that's got 10 employees, you bring in a bot, the bot does the work of enough work that you only need 9 employees. Well, now you've eliminated a job, right? But maybe you open 2 restaurants because of these efficiencies, and now you're employing 18 people instead of 10. Or maybe there's some other job out there that is created as a result of the technology that provides some other service we haven't even thought of yet. And that creates more jobs. It's really hard to wrap your head around how this works. And there's this assumption, the underlying assumption that people have long term is, well, first of all, in the short term, the assumption that people make, or the attitude that there's like, so I'm very optimistic. If you follow me, I'm a super optimistic guy. I'm optimistic about Tesla. I'm optimistic about Elon's companies. I'm optimistic about the future of the world. I am concerned we may have some sort of apocalyptic scenario, but I'm optimistic that I will survive the apocalypse. I don't know about you, but I expect that I will be prepared and I will survive the apocalypse because I'm just a very resourceful guy. I will turn impossible into late. T-shirts at elonbits.com. So, I think that a lot of people are pessimistic and they think in the short run, AI will destroy jobs quickly and the economy won't adapt fast enough, and that will put people out of work. And then in the long run, AI and bots will be so good, so much better than human at every job, that there won't be any work for humans left because you would just have a bot do the work. So that's should read the short story Mana. Franklin says, why hire mistake-making humans when you can have a robot that makes no mistakes? Well, that's it. So, and there's an answer to this question. So let's deal with the short-term question first. The short-term question is that, look, it's likely, if FSD comes along and FSD takes over, then all the Uber drivers are out of work driving Ubers. That doesn't mean they won't find some other work to do, but the Uber work is gone because the robo-taxis will pick people up and take them for rides. The robo-taxis will pick up food from restaurants and deliver it to homes. The Tesla bot will take the meal out of the car and bring it up to the front door. That's kind of the thing. So we can see your reflection and see you're naked from the waist down. I am not naked from the waist down. I am wearing shorts. I'm wearing shorts. They're, I don't know, seersucker or something like that. I appreciate the compliment, but I am not naked from the waist down. That's very funny, Free Kekistan. I'm not saying I've never done I've never done a live stream in my boxers, but I'm not wearing only my boxers tonight. Oh, thank you, Mark Potashnik, for showing that. So I think that there's a lot of potential. There's a term in economics called consumer surplus and producer surplus, and the idea is that when the producer produces the products, they're able to sell it at a price more. It's kind of basically margin, right? The consumer might have been willing to pay more for the product than they paid for it. They're certainly not willing to pay less because they're certainly willing to pay something more. They weren't limited to paying less. Frustrating. Sorry. Family needing things in the middle of my live stream, or right before my live stream starts. A little bit annoying, but it is what it is. If the apocalypse hit, our Lord. On. Okay. I'm sorry. So, What was this question? If the apocalypse hit, just grab a camera. You'll be fine. After all, cameramen never die. I think cameramen do die. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Um, so you just got to wrap your head around this question. Like when you look at the longer term scenario. So sorry, let's deal with the short run first. So the AI starts taking jobs, and all the Uber drivers are out of work. Well, we're not going to have enough robo taxis right away to displace all the Uber drivers. It's going to take time for the AI for Tesla to produce enough robo taxis to replace all the taxi drivers in the world, all the taxi drivers and Ubers and Lyfts in the world. It's going to take time. It might be quick. It might be a year or two. Same thing with tractor trailer drivers, semi drivers. If at a certain point the semis are able to drive themselves, the way that Tesla tells that story is that you will have 2 or 3 semis, and one guy will be driving the lead semi, and 2 of them will follow him. Now, I don't know how many trucking jobs involve convoys like that. There's some, but I don't think it's a big percentage of them. How do we know this is the real Warren and not a simulation? Would the simulation Warren have been wearing, stood up and shown you his shorts? Really? Yeah. Let me address that point. That actually raises a really good point, Core Glass. So, one of the questions that people ask is like, what should I tell my kids to study? What kind of job should my kid prepare for the future if the AIs are going to be doing all this stuff? So my oldest daughter is studied musical theater and is working on stage performance, singing, dancing, and acting on a stage. I think live action human performance, whether it's sports or acting, theater, music, whatever, I think that will be in demand for a long time, and I think it's a long time before AI and bots can deliver that as well as humans deliver that. That's not something, like if you think about the motion, if you think about the emotion, about getting humans to identify with the human audience to identify with the human performers, I think it's going to be a long time before the bot is able to make that kind of connection. Now, video is a different story. Movies, I think that film acting, screen acting may be dead pretty soon. Because I think that the AI will be, because it's on the screen. You're not interacting with the human in the same way. They're just performing on a screen and you're watching it. I think the performing on a stage is going to be different. So I think that's going to take a while. So I think humans will do more than art, music. Well, art and music are like nothing. And I think that the other thing is, at some level, the AI or the bot has to know what's the mission. And I don't know how quickly AI will get to the point. In other words, like we know what the job is. The bot knows how to do the job, but you have to tell it which job to do, and you might have to tell it how to do the job. So I think the vision is that yes, bots may be doing a lot of the work, but there will still be a human saying, "This is what I want you to do. This is how I want you to do it." And I think, in a sense, the dream job is prompt engineer. Which, little sidetrack here for a second. Prompt engineering is like, you've got an AI, you've got ChatGPT, you want to get some kind of answer from ChatGPT. How do you frame the question? Right? It's the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. The answer to the meaning of universe is 42. Wait, what was the question? And then you have to build a new computer to answer the question, which unfortunately is destroyed by the Vogons right before it gives its answer. So it's tricky. The universe is kind of the ironic, the most likely, the ironic outcome is the most likely, or something like that. So if you think about it in a static sense, in a static economy, we make computers for people, and the demand for computers is people want 10 million computers a year. I'm making up a number, maybe it's 1 billion computers a year, whatever it is. And the bots come along, and all of a sudden the bots make computers so much faster. Well, we still only need 10 million computers. Well, no, the market might grow because the cost of producing the computers goes down. And If the bots produce them more efficiently, then now the price of the computers come down, so the demand goes up. When is Cybertruck delivery event announcement? I have no idea. AI aren't replacing gynecologists anytime soon that I can get. I don't know about that. I think that might be something that would replace quicker. Satan bot? AI will perfectly pair men and women for procreation. I hope that comes along. That would be nice. If there was an AI that helped, I've been trying to get Elon to engage with, he needs to create not a dating app for X.com, but a mating app that goes along with X.com. That, again, I'm speaking about the platform formerly known as Twitter. But call it X mating, not X dating. So, humans could simply collectively choose not to create the AI. In theory, humans could choose not to create the AI, but the practical reality is that would require massive coordination. And right now, we're very clearly on a path where humans are going to create AI and create AGI, and likely to create AGI. And there are multiple human teams that are working on developing this, and they would all have to coordinate to not do it. And then you'd have to coordinate to suppress everyone else who might think about doing it from doing it. I think the number of people who could conceivably create AI and AGI is so large. And then let's say the Americans and the Japanese and the Chinese, Americans, Japanese, and Europeans all decide not to do it, but the Chinese go ahead. That in a sense, it's almost like, well, if they're going to do it, we're going to do it. And I think the best hope for the future is that you have multiple AIs created. And I think that if you're not currently interacting with AIs, I strongly recommend that people do it. Get a ChatGPT account, even if you're only using GPT-3. Try Anthropic's Claude 2. Try Midjourney. Spend some time. Spend 10 minutes a day, half hour a day, asking it questions, giving it prompts, seeing what kind of results you get. Play with it. What did Melody say? Watch Futurama. No. We could also not have developed nuclear weapons, and yet we did. Hey, Justin. Justin is an actual real-world friend of mine. Nice to see you, Justin. Thank you for watching. So I want to come back to this point. So short term, AI is going to, the biggest point here is that AI makes humans more productive, and that increase in the productivity of labor creates economic growth, and it ends up creating more jobs. And we've seen this for the last 270 years, since 1750. The more technology creates, increases the productivity of labor, and it creates more jobs. That as technology improves, the productivity increases, the cost of these things gets smaller, and the cost of the other things get less. Yeah, Mark, I'm not discouraging people from supporting me on Patreon, but I think if you're going to support me on any platform, the number one platform I'd like support on is a subscriber on X, aka Twitter, YouTube channel memberships, and the Locals platform, which I'm going to be doing another live stream after this one. I don't think this one's going to go the full length of time. But I'm going to do another live stream on the Locals platform. I'm still experimenting with timing because it's after midnight here in Japan. But on the Locals platform, I was going to talk about, I don't remember what I was going to talk about on the Locals platform. That's bad. We're going to talk about, I'll put this in the chat while I'm doing, Joe Biden's wealth tax. I forgot about that. How did I forget that? So the second live stream is in the chat now, and I'm going to pin it to the top of the chat. That we're going to be talking about that. Okay. So Joe Biden is pushing a wealth tax, which is like an unrealized capital gains tax, which makes absolutely no sense. So we'll be talking about that after. So the best places to support me are, the reason why I mentioned X.com and the Locals platform is they are free speech platforms, and we are seeing a return of an increase of censorship on YouTube. And Patreon is a history of being a censorship platform, so I personally prefer X.com and Locals because they are better. They're not perfect on censorship, but they're better. So EYGK. Oh, so let me, sorry, before I dive further into the chat and me rambling on, I do, if you support me on the various platforms, then And a lot of my videos, I invite, especially I'm doing more live streams lately. I invite people to submit questions in advance of the live stream, and then I take them. So supporters. So FSD Saves Lives supports me on the Locals platform. Submitted this question. This is a fascinating topic. Job created forecasting how AI will change the demand for talent. Tesla already values top-notch engineering talent near priceless. The demand for talent at the best in-breed AI companies will help forecast the future demand. Job changed based on Jim Keller, former Tesla hardware. Jim Keller helped design the inference chip for the Tesla, the Hardware 3, and I may have participated in Dojo. I'm not sure about that. So at Tenstorrent, which I think is a new company, traditional programming will be replaced by neural net training programming by data. The traditional programmers may become data curators. Jobs capable of being eliminated by AI will fade. Acquiring top tech talent will continue to be hyper competitive. Yeah, I think, again, it's recognizing how humans can get the most out of the AIs. I don't think that goes away. I agree with FSD Saves Lives. This is a good context for the topic. And then, not really related to the topic at hand, the question was, Elon said, this is somebody else sent me this question, and I emailed it to myself. Elon said in an interview many years ago that he would start a company in genetics or AI if he wasn't running Tesla and SpaceX. Do you think Elon will ever get into genetics? So judging by Walter Isaacson's book, once everything is going well, Elon starts to get uncomfortable with everything going well, and he needs to shake things up. And one way he could conceivably shake things up is to say, okay, I'm starting a genetics company. I don't think he's going to do that. I think he will shake things up at one of his companies, and he's got a variety of ways of shaking things up and making things uncomfortable. I think he's got enough companies going, and I don't think the gain from genetics looks like it's anywhere near as big as the gain from Neuralink. So I don't know. I mean, I suppose it's possible, but I don't see it. Yeah, I hope that answered those questions. Let me dive into the chat. So then I want to deal with the long-term question. So the short-term question is, I think that number one, in the short run, the shift to AI doing more work will increase productivity of labor, and it will increase productivity of capital, which is different, that the capital itself will become more productive. And so I think it's a step change growth in economic growth to the positive. And that just creates more jobs. And I think the critical thing to understand here is, it's easy to tell yourself you can predict which jobs will go away. It's hard to predict which jobs will be created. I don't think many people 25 years ago would have predicted that Warren would be working as a YouTube creator. And here I am making a video on YouTube. Social media marketing, search engine optimization, content creator, influencer. There's all these jobs that were created, and I'm like barely scratching the tip of the iceberg of how much, is that right? Scratching the tip of the iceberg. I think I'm mixing metaphors. It's hard to picture how many. It's hard for us sitting here today being able to say what new jobs will be created in 10 years with technology we haven't figured out yet. But what we can say is, over the last 270 years, new technology came along. It eliminated some jobs and ended up creating more and better jobs. And that's been true for 270 years. And the idea that that's going to change because, well, I just think it's going to change because the AI is going to be smarter than humans. Like, well, okay. We don't exactly know how the AI is going to play out. I do think it's likely that AI will be very good at a lot of things. I think it's likely there'll be some form of AGI. I still think this can be a long time before humans are fully replaced. And even when in the fantasy that AI is better at every job, there's this concept called the law of comparative advantage in economics, which is really intended for country versus country, but you can imagine the country, the economic unit that is AI producing stuff, and the economic unit that is humans producing stuff. And the story that people are telling is, well, the AI is so productive, no one will bother if humans do anything. But that misses something, that the AI produces a certain volume of stuff, a certain basket of stuff. In a world where the AI is producing all the stuff, as long as the humans produce anything at all, it adds to the bucket of stuff that's created. So there's still a value in human production, even when the AI is better at everything. The law of comparative advantage is that the economies will figure out where are humans' contribution comparatively advantageous, where are they relatively strong, and humans will produce that stuff. So, well, the audience is small tonight. I don't know today. I don't know what's going on there. Maybe there's something going on that I don't know about. We need AI network security to fight Trojan. There's a lot of things for AI to do. I agree with that. Jay Kim says replaced and will lose her job once her employer learns that they can get the same amount of work from fewer employees. Yes, but then the employer says, you know what? I can do 3 jobs. I can hire more people and do more jobs and make more money. Productivity doesn't link to number of jobs. Country can have full employment regardless if it's poor or rich, aka productive. Well, full employment, yeah, that's missing the point. It's not about whether you have full employment, it's whether you're creating more jobs or destroying more jobs. And it says, despite what Elon says, human demand is not infinite. I don't think Elon said it's infinite. AI supply will be essentially infinite. This imbalance is the societal problem. Listen, if supply is so great that everything becomes free, I don't consider that a societal problem. I don't know why you consider that a societal problem. If AI becomes so productive that it outstrips demand, well, then prices will fall and we will all live on less expensive stuff. How is this? Why do you describe that as a problem? That's a fantastically wonderful world. Why don't we have horses doing new jobs anymore? Well, I mean, if you ask John Stossel, there's certain animals that we have more of, right? I mean, cows don't do anything, but we eat them, and we have more cows than we ever would have had if we weren't using cows for food. Yeah, we're not horses. I think that I saw that analogy before that when the AI is that much smarter than us, then it'll be like AI, we are to horses. It's like, well, no, not exactly. I think we are past a certain level. We can't know how much smarter AI will be. Is it conceivable that AI is so much smarter than us that we, end up being morons and, we're the equivalent of ants compared to the AI? I suppose it's possible, but I don't think it's obvious. Thoughts on the UAW accelerating the death of legacy auto? I think the United Auto Workers is making a mistake. I think that the federal government's going to bail out the legacy auto no matter what happens. So does it really matter? And I mean, that's the game. The game is that UAW will crash the automakers. The automakers will call on the federal government to bail them out. The federal government will bail them out conditional on them paying the United Auto Workers more, and they'll just take our money and give it to their buddies. Another thing is that AGI will need to be a market actor and will be guaranteed to need to trade to know it is intelligent. Yeah, I mean, I still think that I think the way we are creating AIs is we're creating AIs to serve humans, and so AIs will serve humans, and humans will tell it what we need done. Why does it matter if AI will create or destroy jobs? It's clear that society will get more productive and richer. Yeah, I mean, well, I think it matters in the sense that I think that at least for men, and I think maybe for humans in general, and I'm being sexist there, and I'm not going to apologize for it. Many of us feel the need to do something to be productive, and if the AIs do everything and there's no longer a need for us to be productive, then we feel useless, and we don't want to feel useless. We want to feel useful. AI will become super power plants for homes, and all other power plants will shut down. I'm not exactly sure how that'll work. Robots might pick weeds or squash bugs so farmers won't need pesticide. That's possible. Yeah, I like that. AI design on Pinterest not too long ago, they generated futuristic ancient Roman soldiers blended with Iron Man stuff. It was dope. It would be a wonderful world if only we can keep human greed in check. Yeah, I mean, what was this one up here? There was something about robot chefs. Can't wait for the first AI restaurant with robot chefs and personalized menus. Yeah, maybe you'd have a robot in the home that cooks for you. I mean, this started with Gary Black, questioning my view on TeslaBot, having, 100 million units a year at $100,000. He's like, what's the TAM? What's the total addressable market? And that misses that if you increase the productivity of labor and you increase the productivity of capital and you have a step change in economic growth, then demand gets much larger. So, bot works for lube. Sounds dirty. AI will usher in the wireless world. AI will always be dumber than the entire market. I don't think we know how intelligent AI will be. The animals are experiencing a life of abundance, no workload by owners. Yeah, mostly. Rob will do jobs that humans don't want or too dangerous to do. A robot. Yeah. There will be jobs. It doesn't matter if AI will be involved in 5 or 50% of jobs. There will be other jobs for men. I think that there will always be work. We will always find something to do. We will always find ways of being productive. I have not found anyone in Japan. I haven't really been looking that hard. I'm trying to get myself settled and organized first. This set is giving me Stephen Mark Ryan vibes. And all yeah, restaurant is going to be called Bites. That's good. Yeah. So, does anybody have? If you have other questions about other topics, feel free to ask them. I mean, I feel like one of my challenges in doing this YouTube channel is I don't want to beat a dead horse. And if Farzad has talked about something, and Stephen Mark Ryan has talked about something, and James Stevenson has talked about something, and Rob Maurer has talked about something, and Dave Lee has talked about something, am I really adding any value if I talk about it? But if you have a question about a particular topic within Tesla, I certainly keep up with everything. Maybe AI will be smart enough to finally figure out women. Sure. Thank you, Brad. And I want to get back to this point. Sorry, there's this point that really strikes me. And I think one of the most critical skill sets that we will have in a world of AIs is prompt engineering, being able to ask questions of the AI and having that get you the answer or the output that you want. US is not getting refresh Model 3 until next year. And I'm often wrong about refresh, so don't trust me on that. So if you think about it, have we always been prompt engineers? When you ask a question in the chat, you're looking for a response from me. If you ask the question the right way, maybe you get the response that you want. When will you visit a Toyota factory to assess the competition? I haven't thought about visiting. I mean, I'm really close to Toyota's home. Toyota City's on the east edge of Nagoya, but I have not had any particular motivation to visit a Toyota factory. There's like 2 Toyota museums in the area. Talk about your pod car. I don't have anything new about the pod car. I'm trying to recruit. I'm working on getting the visa so I can go forward with the business plan, and I'm trying to get myself in a position to recruit university engineering students to work on the pod car with me. Tefillin has a circuit on it. Looks like I don't know what tefillin means. Tefillin, you mean the thing from that Jews wear in a religious ceremony? Possible reasons Elon is quiet about the refresh Model 3. That's a good question. He has been really quiet about that. They did just deliver their 5 million, or they just produced their 5 millionth car. I think it was in Shanghai they decided. I don't know how they decide which one's 5 millionth, but they produced their 5 millionth car. So Tesla's produced 5 million cars. My prediction is that the 6 millionth car will roll off the lines in the first quarter of 2024. Chat is becoming all too human as it makes up stuff when it doesn't know. Sure. ChatGPT, you mean? Yeah. AI Kama. Yeah, my pod car's name in India is going to be the Kara Sutra. Will government let the legacy car makers die? I don't think they will. Would love to see a live video of the Toyota Museum. I don't know if they allow that, and it doesn't excite me. Why are Japanese fruits so expensive? I think the reason that Japanese fruits are expensive is because because they're better. They really work very hard to make. You won't get a blemished piece of fruit in most Japanese fruits that are sold. It's all perfect or near perfection. So they're just better quality than the typical American fruit. I personally don't value that quality that much. I like American fruit fine, and I'd rather have it cheaper. But I think that's the story. Did something stand out to you with the different interviews with Walter Isaacson or from reading his book? The big thing that stood out to me from the Walter Isaacson biography of Elon Musk was limited details about the next engine for SpaceX. That there's another engine coming after Raptor that will lower cost of the rocket, be more simple to manufacture, which probably means they can make them in higher volume. That was the one thing that stood out to me more than anything else. I think the picture of Elon being driven by a need to be uncomfortable, that if you're comfortable, that means you're not trying hard enough. I think that that's something we're going to see surges and other things again and again. Refresh is quiet in the US because there's no refresh in the US yet. Yeah, exactly. They had an entire event in China. They had an event in Europe also. They had an event in Japan. Some friends of mine went to an event in Japan. I didn't get invited. Yeah, gardeners will cheat on your wife. Nice. Can AI control the weather, including volcanoes, hurricanes, and earthquakes? I don't think so, but I don't, we don't know how capable AI will become. How much time will be saved on the Cybertruck production line by the elimination of a paint shop? I think it's more of a money thing than a time thing, but if the paint shop is slowing down the production process, that saves time. If the paint shop is faster than everything else, it's not saving time, it's just that it's saving cost. I had a comment from someone striking, and they said they need what is owed because the government will take care of auto companies even with bad management. That's true. Will SpaceX be used to deliver stuff between continents? There's a SpaceX board member named, I think it's Antonio Gracias. He was on the All In Pod briefly, and he talked specifically about SpaceX Starship being used to deliver packages from one continent to another, from Asia to Europe, the United States, or vice versa. Tesla market cap prediction by 2038? Oh, I think we're talking 50 trillion by 2030. So 2038, 100 trillion, 200 trillion, I don't know. Do I think the new die shop in Austin will be used for Tesla to make their own gigacasting machines? I don't think Tesla's going to make their own gigacasting machines, no. I think they are happy with the work of Idra and their subsidiaries or partner companies in making gigapresses. But it is in Tesla's behavior to do everything in-house. If it's that important to the business, maybe they would do it. Make one Raptor per day. They are pushing for airline type reusability. Elon has talked about futures. Yeah, I mean, I think maybe it's not directly from the book, but if the Raptor costs about $250,000 an engine, and a Starship has 40 engines, which is about right, that's about $10 million for all the engines on a Starship. One engine for a large commercial airliner, 747, that type of 787, whatever, the large commercial airliners. One of those engines is $20 million. The Starship costs less than a large commercial airplane. It's crazy. The AI will be a subset of the entire market, so dumber than the total. There will be limited ability to measure greater intelligence in terms of resource utilization. Thaddeus, it sounds good, but I'm not sure you're right. I was having fun with your ex-wife voice and X. I love her voice. I was having fun with what? How did you have fun with my ex-wife's voice? That doesn't make any sense. SpaceX, when it absolutely positively has to be there in 90 minutes. 90 minutes? No, it's like 20 minutes. AI Robocops and Terminators, maybe. What was my price target for the end of 2023 and 2024? I don't know. I don't use the word price target normally. I had expectations, but I don't really believe I'm good at making short-term predictions of things like that. So if you are going to say, Warren, you're wrong about that, then yeah, I probably was wrong. If I made a prediction, I was probably wrong. I've given up on the idea of making short-term stock price predictions. I'm much more interested in the long term. My thoughts on the UAW strike, I think the UA's position is ridiculous. But, I saw an interview with Mary Barra, and the interviewer said, well, you got a 34% raise. Isn't it reasonable for the workers to want a similar raise to what you got? And she didn't really have a good answer. All right. So, unfortunately, I'm tired. Deliver New York pizza to Tokyo, sure. I had a little bit of pizza tonight. I'm tired, so I'm going to wrap this up now. I think we kind of delivered the point. My view is that there's likely to always be a role for humans to do something, whether it's just the AI is better at everything, but humans still produce because that adds more value. And I think also that the AIs will make humans so much more productive that we will continue to be valuable. Great pizza in Japan? I'm not so sure I would say they have great. There may be great pizza in Japan, but most of it's not as good. Mary's raise was that big because she led and it mattered. AI factory that produces 8 billion products a day. Every man, woman, and child on earth can have this thing cheaper. Yes. I feel like there's some AIs in the chat, and they're not very good at it. Possibly extremely profitable. Yes. Could Tesla buy their own island, make it their own country, and set their own tax terms and ship all over the world? That probably wouldn't work. I think what we're going to see instead is a gulch on Mars. wrong about the bailouts of Legacy Auto. The U.S. government barely solving itself. No, I wish I was wrong about the bailouts of Legacy Auto. The U.S. government will just print more money. Okay, so that's it. I'm going to wrap up. We're going to move over to the Locals platform. It's pinned in the top of the chat. It's warrenredlich.locals.com. We're going to talk about Joe Biden's proposed tax on unrealized capital gains for billionaires and why he's wrong and why he's silly. Would I buy Tesla or SpaceX stock right now? I buy Tesla stock. I don't buy. I have had opportunities to buy SpaceX stock, and I've gone ahead and bought Tesla stock. That's a long conversation, but so let me stop here. And thanks everybody so much for watching. Please check out the t-shirts at elonbits.com. Support me. We're going over the Locals platform now. Support me.